Forget about the intro, let's just go for it. Adam is definitely kinda chill. I've never seen a toxic Adam, I think. They can get toxic if someone gets toxic at them, and it's usually all the time because the community still thinks that Adam is a troll pig. But if nobody touches them, they're super chill, so kinda chill because they can get triggered, but usually they're chill. Oh, BP players are toxic as fuck. They're already playing an annoying character, and every single BP I play with is toxic. He's gonna be either toxic to the enemy team if he's doing well, or he's gonna say some massive slurs in team chat if he's doing bad, and saying it's everyone else's fault. Magic is super chill. I don't think I ever saw a toxic Magic. I mean, people get pissed at Magic because at the end of the day she's a dive character, but I've never seen an actual toxic Magic. They're always kind of chill and they swap all the time. I'm not biased. I can be biased and I can say that it's super chill, but I think for Starlord it really depends. I've seen a lot of very chill Starlord players who can lose and still like be like, oh GG, that was a very fucking good fight and all of that. But I've also seen a shitload of toxic Starlords as well. And it's always on the extreme end. It's never like, oh, he's kind of chill or a little bit toxic. No, it's either he's super chill as fuck or he's toxic as fuck. That's just, I don't know, that's just the way it is. Black Widow, toxic as fuck. I mean, this is what happens with sniper characters. They're always gonna be attracted by some toxic dudes who think they're better than everyone else because, well, I mean, if you are better than everyone else, then you're gonna pop with those characters. Usually it's not the case though, but they're still gonna be toxic as fuck. And even if they are actually good, they're probably gonna make a few toxic comments every now and then. Rocket players need to calm the fuck down, not gonna lie. I don't know what's up with Rocket players, especially like those Rocket mains. I guess it's because the character is a bit simple and sometimes you can just bot heal, but they're all extremely toxic towards their own teammates. You make one single mistake, that's it, they're opening the chat. Namor? Moon Knight players are kinda chill. I don't think they're the chillest dudes, but every time I saw them type something in the chat is just good night related or some other country stuff. I don't know, they're all pretty chill. But they're not super chill, they can get toxic a little bit sometimes, but yeah, they're kinda chill, so let's leave it there. Cloak and Dagger, it depends. It depends, and it's like Starlord, it's either toxic as fuck or super chill, and there is no other way in between. They tend to be pretty toxic, or incredibly chill, there's just no way in between in those guys for some reason. Doctor Strange players are... I think they're kinda chill. I've never seen any one of them tilt as much. Except for sometimes when they tilt as a solo tank, but that's very rare and usually they're just playing the game, you know, filling for that Vanguard role, shielding their team and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes doing some portal shenanigans and stuff. Yeah, they're kind of chill. I'm gonna do Hawkeye and Hela at the same time because they're both sniper characters again. Probably the most toxic players I've ever seen are Hela players, and they're like consistently toxic as fuck. Almost like Namor. Oh damn, I just realized I should have probably put Namor at the top if I want to show that he's toxic, but yeah. But yeah, same thing as with Black Widow, sniper characters usually attract very toxic people who think they're better than everyone else. And speaking of characters who think they're better than everyone else, Spider-Man is toxic. Like, I don't really blame them, because unless you're a Spider-Man player, the entire community hates you. Sometimes it's for a good reason, because they are annoying to deal with. But they're also probably gonna rage bait you or some shit. Rage bait Spider-Man is still a thing, and it's one of the characters which is used the most to rage bait, so there's just that. Rage bait Spider-Man, here we go, toxic as fuck. Iron Fist? Iron Fist isn't as toxic as BP and Spider-Man are, but they still tend to get a little aggressive in chat, especially when they're losing. Jeff players are super chill in general. Sometimes Jeff players will do some griefing and ults their own team to the pit or some shit like this. But outside of that, every Jeff player is very nice. Luna is the same as Cloak and Dagger, it depends. It can be super chill, but it also can be toxic as hell. And to be honest, 90% of the time, it's toxic. She either is completely silent because everything is doing great, or you start losing really bad and she's gonna be the most toxic teammate on your team, trust me. Mantis players are kinda chill as well. She's not super chill, she can write some stuff in chat every now and then, especially if she gets a lot of kills. Because, well, you got a lot of kills with a strategist, not a DPS, of course you're gonna write something about this. But outside of that, every Mantis player I've seen is chill. Psylocke players are... You could argue that they're toxic as hell, but I think they're just toxic. It's just because all of these characters are much more toxic than Psylocke players, so I just can't put them on the same level with them. But she can get a little pissy at times. Speaking of characters in the highest tier, every Punisher I've seen, every Punisher main specifically, if they pick Punisher, you know, for the first time or just to kill a flyer or some shit, they're usually chill. But Punisher mains, they have more rage than Frank Castle themselves. But their traumatizing event was probably deranking or some petty shit like this. Scarlet Witch players are... Honestly, they're super chill. It's not the most hard character in the game. It is annoying to deal with on lower ranks probably and all of that, but come on, they want to help out. They're probably aware that their aim is not the best as well, but they just want to have fun and they're gonna help their team. They usually peel a lot and all of that kind of stuff. They're super chill. Square Go players are like the evil Scarlet Witch players, because they play a character that is also pretty easy to play, but they're delusional. They actually think they're really good at the game. And they just like to see you suffer, I swear. What the fucking squirrel girls, bro. There is nothing more rage-inducing in this game than being killed by a squirrel girl and watching the kill cam. She didn't even fucking look at you. She's just randomly shooting and you just happen to be in the wrong spot. Hulk players are usually... They're usually, I'd say, super chill. It takes a lot of effort to play a tank, and then you play one of the most clunkiest and hardest tanks in the game, who's also perma-banned in like half of the seasons in the past. Makes you a chill guy, you know. Because nobody's toxic when they see Hulk on their team. So it's not like people hate you for playing the character you play. It's just that your potential is a bit scary. And usually they're super chill, they're one of the chillest tank players in the game. Same goes for Mag, I will say, but I'm tempted to put him in kinda chill. No, actually it depends, because they're usually actually super chill, but because it's probably the best tank in the game right now. Some could argue it's Emma, but the best tank in the game, Magneto. Since he's the best, a lot of people will play him. A lot of different people will play him. So usually people who were attracted to him before he was the best tank are super chill, but right now there's a lot of toxic Magnetos out there as well. Because they just play whatever is meta. Cap players are... Well, Cap is annoying on his own, but Cap players are kinda chill. To be honest, I've never seen a toxic Cap player. Their job is to be annoying. That's true. But they're just going for it. That's why they're not super chill, because they're playing a character whose entire existence relies on being annoying and pretty much bullying the backline. And yet, Cap players are usually extremely chill. I would say Storm players are toxic. Same reason as Psylocke, they can get a little tilted every now and then, but they probably will get tilted. But I won't give you as much slurries as anyone in this tier. Bucky is interesting because I would easily put him in the toxic as hell tier, but recently I've seen a decline in toxicity of Bucky players. So it definitely not depends, because they're never chill, but I would say somewhere. Okay, I'm not actually ordering them, so just here. Yep. Groot players are Groot players. Like, those guys are super chill. They're probably gonna type in the chat, "I am Groot," and just "I am Groot" in voice chat. They literally have the same personality as their character. Like, I swear. Fantastic players are toxic. They know they're annoying just like Cap, but they're not willing to go for a Vanguard and suffer. They still want to play a DPS character, and they're toxic. They want you to suffer, not for the sake of providing value and being fun, but just because they need to fill for a tank. They don't want to do that, and they're just gonna fucking backshot you. Invis players are, well, from the big three, Cloak, Luna, and Invis, I feel like Invis can be as toxic as Luna, but she's more on the depends like Cloak and Dagger as well. Pretty much same thing. Except that I don't think it's in the extremes now. She can be super chill, but she's never toxic as fuck, unless she's also a Luna player or stuff like this. At max, she can be just toxic. Thor players are kinda chill. The character is just not doing well right now, but they're kinda going through it. They're having fun still. They're doing their thing, but they can get very tilted if you point out that they're playing a bad Vanguard, which they are, towards the only Vanguard that wasn't played in Ignite. The Think players are super chill, in my experience. Usually Think players just don't want to deal with any of that bullshit, and they just go for the thing. Instead of crying in the chat or trying to outplay them, they're just like accepting their fate, and I'm just gonna counterplay you. I'm just gonna have fun. It's a simple character. I'm just gonna hold right click, and you know what? I'm gonna provide value to my team. Emma Frost is the same as Magneto. Usually I've seen a lot of chill Emma players, but because she's the best or the second best tank in the game with Mag, she just attracts a lot of different players, both toxic and chill. So you're gonna see a variety of Emmas. Ultron is probably the only character that deserves to be toxic as hell, because you just can't be chill with Ultron. The character is gonna have toxic lines against everyone. But surprisingly, Ultron players are super chill. I don't know what's that like, but they are. They're usually extremely chill. I've never seen a single Ultron player tilt. Maybe it's a matter of time, because after all, Ultron is a pretty new character, but I've never seen an Ultron player chill. Venom players, from my experience, are pretty toxic. I don't know what's up with that, but they are. They just are. They're toxic to both the enemy team, your own team. I don't know what's up with that, but they're always gonna say something. Same with Penny players. Penny players are toxic. They're not super toxic, but they're toxic. If you think of a Penny player as in, oh, this map is good for Penny, I'm gonna play her a little bit and then I'm gonna swap. No, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Penny mains. And Penny mains, you know what? They're toxic as fuck. Everyone is skeptical about seeing them on their team all the time. That breaks a person. They're toxic, and their entire kit is about setting up traps. They are toxic, they're gonna flank you, and it's not gonna be fun. Now, you know what? I think I'm overextending. They're just toxic, they're not toxic as fuck. Because I looked at characters over here, and I don't think she belongs next to all of them. She's just toxic. Wolverine is just toxic as well. I mean, their entire character is made around making tanks suffer. You make people who already suffer the most suffer more. Loki players are the same as Luna players, they're toxic as heck. And when I was choosing a tier for Luna, I kinda stopped there for a second, thought that maybe she deserves a deep end spot. But then I said that 90% of Luna players are just toxic, you're just winning. So that's why they're not toxic. But the moment you start losing, they're gonna get toxic. Loki players are as toxic as Luna players, except that they're gonna get toxic even if we're winning. A single mistake on your behalf gonna make them toxic. I don't know what's up with that. They probably have the most ego from all of the strategists in the game. And character-wise that checks out, but come on man. Chill out a little bit. Torch players are... You know, back in season 1.5, Torch players were kinda chill, a little bit toxic every now and then, but kinda chill. After Torch buffs in season 2, they became extremely toxic, mostly because it's not actually Torch players, but just people who follow the meta. But I assume a lot of people who follow the meta stayed on Torch, and those days, ever since season 2 came out, Torch players are usually toxic as heck. That's just it. If they die, it's your fault, but if they miss every single shot in the game, it's still your fault somehow. I don't know what's up with that. They don't care about team composition. They'll play Torch till the end, even if it doesn't work out, even if they have Hela, Hawkeye, and Black Widow who are all competent. They're gonna stay in that character, they're gonna lose, and they're gonna blame you. And Tony Stark? I will say that Tony Stark is toxic. Well, I mean, that checks out character-wise, I guess, a little bit. But they're usually toxic. I'm talking, again, when I'm talking about all of this, I'm talking like a character main. You know, someone who plays a lot of a character, doesn't just fill on this character a little bit, but actively plays the character. And people who actively play Iron Man are usually a little bit toxic. Not those people who play for shits and giggles for, you know, solo ulting people, for the funny, for the clips, but actual Iron Man players are usually kinda toxic. What do you guys think? This is 100% biased. It's objectively a correct opinion of mine. No other tier list is valid. W Ragebait. Thank you for watching.